Good morning, everyone. It is 10 o'clock, and I will call this Board of Fire Commissioners meeting to order. We will start with a salute to the flag, and if Chief Moore could please lead us. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the salute to our great country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will now move to the roll call. Madam Clerk.
Alexis Hill, Chair.
Here.
Jeannie Herman, Vice Chair. Michael Clark is absent. Mary Luz Garcia.
Here.
And Clara Andriola is absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Andriola did reach out to me to tell me she was representing us at a chamber function for businesses. So I think that I did acknowledge that absence.
Okay.
Thank you.
We also have Fire Chief Charles Moore.
Here.
Chief Deputy District Attorney Mary Canderas. And I'm Kathy Smith, Chief Deputy Clerk.
Thank you very much. And now we will move to public comment. Chief Moore.
Item 3 is public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the commission agenda. The commission will also hear public comments during individual action items, with comments limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the commission as a whole. Okay.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, do we have any public commenters?
No one is signed in.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move to item 4. Chief, I'll have you lead us into that item.
Item 4 is Commissioners, Fire Chiefs announcements, requests for information, topics for future agendas, and statements relating to items not on the agenda. No discussion among commissioners will take place on this item.
Great. Chief, do you have anything for us this morning?
We have announced the dates for green waste. We're only going to do one weekend in April, I believe. Okay. And so people that like that program, please look at our website and look for that date in April. It'll be coming up here in about a month and a half.
At all fire stations or just select?
We'll have locations
okay.
in the north and one in the south.
Okay.
But no, not all fire stations.
Thank you. Anything else for us?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking to the commissioners. Anything from the vice chair or Commissioner Garcia? Not seeing anything. So we will now move to our consent items. And do any commissioners want to pull a consent item, A through F? Okay. Madam Clerk, any public comment on consent?
There is none.
Okay, I am looking for a motion then.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. In a second.
I will second that.
Thank you, Vice Chair Herman. With a motion and a second, no public comment. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Okay. And that passes unanimously. We'll now move to item 6. Chief Moore.
Item 6 is a recommendation to accept several gift card donations totaling $240 from the Mathis family in support of and thanks to the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District's Joy Lake Station 39 staff. And if accepted, express sincere appreciation for the thoughtful donation. There was a medical call with this family, and they brought gift cards over to the station to say thanks. So we're very appreciative that they thought of the crew.
Yes, well-deserved, but also so generous of our community to step up and give those donations. Any public comment on this, Madam Clerk?
There is none.
Okay, well, unless there's a question, I'm looking for a motion to accept.
So moved.
Thank you, Vice Chair Herman.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. And that motion passes unanimously. We're now going to item 7, the most exciting part of our agenda. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Chair. This is the presentation, discussion, and possible acceptance of the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District's 2025-2027 strategic plan, which includes the following goals and impacts. 1, serve the needs of our community. 2, build a safer, more resilient community and workforce. And 3, create a sustainable future for the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District. We have Ms. Cameron Mock, who was our facilitator through this process, and she's going to sum up everything that we've done since you've last looked at this, and hopefully the board will accept and we'll get busy.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm good here.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Cameron Mock for the record. Thank you all for having me today. I'm here to give you just a quick update, as Chief Moore mentioned, on the work that's taken place since the last go-round that you heard about the strategic plan. So the last time you saw the plan, it was in draft form as the 3-year plan. Since then, we've gone through and updated we've gone through and drafted the annual operation plan. So that consists of action plans per initiative, including quarterly milestones, and this is the work that the team will be managing to on a monthly and quarterly basis. So the next piece of this that we want to cover, it's actually on page 26 if you'd like to reference it, is the execution management schedule. This is just going through what the team is accountable for and when you all will be hearing updates on the strategic plan. So we are committing to, on a monthly basis, checking in on performance of the annual initiatives and specifically those quarterly milestones that they're committing to achieving each quarter. Discussion will take place on a monthly basis at the leadership team meetings to discuss items that are on target, items that are off target, things that might need to change, asks, dependencies, etc. On a quarterly basis, the team is committing to hosting a leadership team meeting where they will do a deeper dive discussion, discussing primarily celebrating wins, any asks, dependencies, or roadblocks on initiatives, so things that need to change to move these items forward. And then lastly, if they'll be carrying forward or creating any new milestones. So this is really the implementation, the operational piece. When are they coming together to discuss performance, et cetera. From that meeting, it will roll into a quarterly report to all of you. So you can expect a report on a quarterly basis on the update of the strategic plan. And then finally to an all-staff communication to the entire Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District team so that the entire organization is aware of work that's been completed, work in progress, and where there might need to be assistance. So that's the overview of the implementation model. I would ask if there's any questions. I believe that that's the appropriate thing to do here.
Yes, absolutely. Looking to the board or Chief Moore, do you have anything else to add on that presentation?
Well, we've gotten off to a rapid start on this. This is an ambitious plan, but I think I let the board know that we're already starting on the green initiatives. We got a grant for solar
I know, it's
implementation at Sun Valley, and I think there's more coming with respect to that. So we're very excited. Staff's very excited about getting going on this.
Wonderful. Commissioner Garcia, do you have anything?
I do. Thank you so much for the update and the timeline. And I do agree this is a great plan. It's very ambitious, and I'm looking forward to us reaching all those important milestones. The last time we looked over the draft, I had some questions and comments regarding the recruitment, diversity, and equity, inclusion, and belonging section on page 24. And thank you to Chief Moore and Carla for rounding up some of the statistics for me from the last time we met. I have a comparison between Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District, City of Reno, City of Sparks, and now Story County. And it provides a really nice holistic view on where we're at in terms of racial ethnic breakdowns, gender, age. So it's a really nice look. I know I brought copies for the commissioners if you'd like a hard copy, but I think the only thing I would like to add today on page 24 is I'm still looking to strengthen this area, and I have one idea and a suggestion. And Madam Chair, I don't know if this is really the time or the place or
I think this is, because we're going to adopt. So if any additional recommendations are being made, this is a great opportunity.
So what I would like to request today is that we allocate some time and resources to seeking an outside consultant to look at the recruitment, hiring, and retention of Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District. And the reason being is because this is such an important topic, and it, I think, lends itself really well to the overall, not only are we reflecting the community that we serve, but are we able to respond in a timely fashion, so increasing our safety outcomes. But also, if we don't do this and invest in this right now, 10 years are going to pass us by and we're going to still be looking and facing the same challenges. And so I would really like to strengthen this as we are embarking on a new strategic plan to, if I have the support of my fellow county commissioners to do so. Carla's wonderful, but I believe we only have one Carla in the entire Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District. I would love to support her efforts, her ideas, with a little bit of resources. And so I'd love to hear what anybody else thinks or has to say on this initiative.
I think that's probably something we can definitely build into the budget and shouldn't be too costly. I'm looking to you, Chief Moore. You've probably seen studies like this before in your time.
Indeed, Madam Chair, and in fact, the whole recruitment piece is a challenge for us because paramedics are hard to find. So as long as we're going to do that, we might as well broaden and cast the net a little wider.
Yes, absolutely, and have the best practices and the experts tell us how to do it right. Okay, great. Vice Chair Herman?
I don't have any.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioner Garcia?
Yeah, and I think along with the recruitment, but keeping people here after we hire them is a really important thing. Retention is often overlooked, and there's a lot of things that are happening. I mean, the last legislative session, we had a large language access plan that was approved by the legislature that the Washoe County has already started to do some of that heavy lifting in terms of the implementation of that ask from our legislators. And there's also some Title IX stuff that I think that could be weaved into this. So it's not just recruitment. And I think what the struggle I had last time I saw this is it was so heavily on recruitment. And I feel like we're just kind of missing the mark if we don't really take a deeper dive into this.
Great. Well, I look forward to seeing that piece put into the budget and hopefully a contract come before the board so we can see what that looks like. Any other comments on this? I'm really excited as well to get to work, and I would say the green initiatives are spot on, and I'm really excited about the ambitious approach and working with the county on that piece as well. So thank you, Chief Moore, for that. So do we need to make a motion to approve with that change?
Madam Chair, I would advise.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you very much. Well, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, is there any public comment?
There isn't.
Okay, thank you so much. I am looking for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to accept the 2025-2027 Truckee Meadows Fire Protection Strategic Plan as written with the addition of seeking outside consultant for emphasis on recruitment, hiring, and retention on the section noted on page 24.
And I'll second that. Any questions on the motion? I'm seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And that motion passes. Thank you so much. We're now on to item 8. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 8 is an introduction of our newest employee, Mr. Brett Taylor, and Chief Eisenhagen will introduce him.
Good morning. For the record, August Eisenhagen, Division Chief, Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District. The board probably recalls about a year ago, I had a good idea to hire a wildland urban interface community coordinator that would be an outward-facing position to help all of the communities that are affected by wildland fire within the county. We went through the hiring process. It's my pleasure today to get to introduce Brett Taylor. Brett came from Nevada Division of Forestry. He was a battalion chief over there before joining us a month ago. He has an undergraduate degree in forest management from University of Nevada, Reno. He has a long-standing career in the area, and he lives in the district with his wife and 2 children. I have personally worked with Brett for over a decade and can speak to his energy and work ethic, and I could not be more excited to be introducing him to you.
Wonderful. Do you have anything to say? Come on up.
Commissioners, Chief, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Chief. No, I'm just excited to be working for Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District and be part of the family and lend my skills to serve the community best I can.
Absolutely. And I know that parts of my district will be in touch with you very soon. I know Verdi is very concerned about, plans and working with TM. So I'm really excited we have a full-time person that can devote, the time and expertise to this concerning topic in our region.
Absolutely.
Any other board members? Okay, Chief, do you have anything else to add?
I would add, thank you, Madam Chair, that Mr. Taylor is skilled in will probably focus on getting grants for all of these projects that we're
Great.
talking about. So one of his efforts are going to be seeking that grant money to help us do the fuels reduction.
Wonderful. Okay, this is not an action item, but we welcome you to the
Thank you.
team. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you. And we will now move to item 9.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 9 is presentation and possible direction to staff on the status of the current fiscal year budget, including current revenues and expenditures, funding priorities, and projects anticipated for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 budget. This item will also include a discussion on new initiatives and capital projects, including fire stations, fire trucks equipment, service levels, and debt financing. And Ms. Vance will present to you.
Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's nice to see your faces again.
I know it's been too long.
It has. So right now, we are just starting the budget process. April 15th is the tentative budget deadline, and then in May will be the final budget adoption due on June 1st to the Department of Taxation. Let's see. So as you're aware, when we finished our fiscal year for 2023, we had a 32.2% ending fund balance, which was about $12 million. And we had projected about 18.9%, and that did give us about 4.2 million above our projected ending fund balance to start with, which was available for reallocation. And for that, we used a lot of it towards capital projects because it's kind of one-time money, so it's the best use of those type of funds is capital projects. The construction fund only had $140,000 difference in their ending fund balance than what we projected, and that was also available for reallocation. So those are some of the things that we've used for fiscal year 24 to do some of the construction projects. As we head into, towards the end of the year, our property taxes, we only have the first 2 quarters through December 31st collected. March is actually a fairly big collection, so we'll know what the 3rd quarter brings pretty soon. But that's running about 3.1% over budget, which is right now a projection about $780,000 above the budget. However, our consolidated taxes, the sales tax revenues, are currently running 7% under budget. And we did just recently receive an additional one, which is continuing, unfortunately, that trend. If that trend continues, it's running about $900,000 under budget, which kind of offsets each other. So we are still expecting our revenues to end fairly close to budget. They have we just received the initial projections for our consolidated tax from the state of Nevada, and they're projecting at $11.9 million for the initial projections, which is about $500,000 more than what we are projecting for end this year, but it's about $500,000 under what the state had projected for fiscal 24. So we're kind of watching that, and whether we'll adopt that number as our budget kind of depends on the next couple months. I recommend it. Of course, when we look at our expenditures, we work with each department to help project what they're spending and what their needs are. Our labor agreements are the biggest expenditure in our budget, and that's about 80% in salaries and benefits. So we are in negotiations, so we'll be using as much as we know to kind of put that into our budget and adopt that, and if we finalize our negotiations, those will all be in there too. And of course, funding the district strategic plan that was just presented will be included in our fiscal year 25 recommended budget. We're looking at how to reduce some of the district's unfunded liabilities, particularly like our compensated absences that keep growing up into the $8 million range. We had several payouts this year that were in excess of what we actually transferred to that fund, but still within the budget, but it did kind of wipe out a lot of our sick annual vacation budget or fund balance there. Modest cost increases in our services and supply line items. We still are researching a lot of debt financing options for our capital projects to include stations and new rolling stocks. And a lot of our capital now has a 2 to 3 year lead time. And the debt financing will be working with that. And Chief Moore will go more into detail on that on a later slide. So our current debt, we have about a $1 million annual debt payment. That includes the $4.4 million equipment bonds that'll be maturing in 2030, $2 million in capital improvement bonds for 2035, and $7 million that was used mostly for the Barron Way that will be maturing in 2046. As we look at current debt, some of our current considerations, of course, are the interest rates and terms versus the costs of constructions that are changing. And we also want to measure that with our long-term stability of the district. So we don't want to indebt ourselves to something we can't pay in the future, obviously. Okay. And Chief, I'll let you discuss the engine needs.
Thank you, Cindy. The board may recall that the board approved the purchase of 3 Type 1 structural engines. Our plan is to pay for cash when those are ready. We're putting aside $1 million each year. We did that in the last fiscal year. We'll do that again this year, and then by the time that they're ready, we'll write them a check. It's a big number. Some of our fleet is recommended that we start thinking about replacing these. So when we order, we're looking at 3 years now because of the supply chain timelines. We order a fire truck, it's 3 years by the time we get it. So there you see a list of things that we anticipate needing 3 years from now. And we have put the ladder truck on hold. You may recall the presentation on that, so we're not contemplating ordering that next fiscal year, but we'll continue to look at that as some place within the next 5 years of getting that ordered. Also, on our capital projects, the Apple Fire Station is moving along. We're looking at about somewhere around $1 million to add to the program that Apple has committed to, so we think that station's around a $15 million capital contribution to the district, with the addition of a single bay and additional bedrooms to make the station a little bit larger. The construction of Hidden Valley Station 37 Apparatus Bay is ready to go. It's shovel ready. There are some things we need to do for water lines and electrical distribution before that happens, but the apparatus bay at Station 37 is the old volunteer station, and fitting a modern fire truck into that bay is simply not going to happen. It's too small. We only have 1 Type 1 engine that will fit into that bay, so it needs to be redone. The apparatus quarters were done and completed about 2 years ago, so the crews are in there. We got rid of the modular. The county took it, and I believe it's in service in somewhere up north. And then Barron Way, we're looking at solar and emergency power backup and building security improvements. We are experiencing some theft back in the yard and some people accessing our property that we don't think should be there. We know they shouldn't be there. And so we're looking at establishing some security to go around the perimeter of our building. And then Washoe Valley Fire Station, this has been on our radar for a while. We've had to close the Bowers Station because of health concerns over rodents and bats. It was a 70-year-old building and simply had outlived its usefulness. So this new station will consolidate the East Lake Station and Bowers into one central location, which is able to serve both the east and west side of Washoe Valley. It is going to require about 9 to 10 months to get the architecture done, and then looking at building that station, which is forecast right now at around $15 million. So we've got a couple of ideas in the works. I don't want to disclose them quite yet because they're still in negotiation, but there's a possibility that we'll get this thing going sometime in the next year. Our standards of cover, I'm going to discuss that in the chief's report. This really outlines where we're going to go as a district. It's part of the strategic plan, but it talks a lot about our service levels and engages the community and the board with what the district's going to look like 10 years from now and where our challenges are in all kinds of areas. How many staff, how many future fire trucks, where should future fire stations go, where is our call demand, where is the growth occurring? And you're going to be hearing a lot about that one in the next year. We'll probably give you a quarterly update on that. But it's a deep dive into, a deep data dive into what our experience has been. And then we may also vision a little bit about the future Spanish Springs Fire Station. That won't cost a lot, but we do have 10 acres that we purchased some years ago that is about 2 miles north of the current station.
Oops, sorry.
We're not anticipating any increase in the personnel census. We are planning to share a hazmat coordinator with the city of Sparks, waiting for the city to be able to fund that and confirmation of that. But that hazmat program has lagged for having a really brilliant hazmat person at the helm of that, because it's very technical and it's very dangerous work. And we need a good, solid leader between the agencies that participate in that. We do have 3 firefighter paramedic positions that are currently funded by the SAFER grant, and we'll be taking those on at 100% now, so we're planning for that. And the Wildland and Fields program has some challenges because NV Energy is going through a process with the PUC and making sure that it has the PUC blessing to do what it is required to do under the state statutes. So we're going to be very deliberate in how we move forward with that program.
So as we go into our budget season, of course, the sustainability of the district's finances are one of our strategic goals, and to maintain that, to balance the current needs with the future of the district. We are targeting an ending fund balance between 10 and 20% is our intention. And with that, any recommendations toward the budget, any questions?
I'm not sure who authorized the use of my graduating academy photograph there, but I won't object.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Ms. Vance and Chief Moore. I guess we have later on our agenda the discussion of having to absorb the vehicles that we purchased, thinking that we were going to be reimbursed by MV Energy. Are there any other outstanding financial things that we need to know about as a board that we made a decision on, thinking that we'd have some more support on, such as that when we're heading into this new fiscal year?
Those are the primary
Right.
capital increases. I believe, Cindy, we have those funded out of this year.
Well, we can earmark part of that $4 million of additional fund
Right.
balance to pay for those. We do have the ability to charge NV Energy now for the use, and other entities for the use of the engines that we have bought. There is some allocation for replacement, but then also some expense revenues that go into the funds. And there's some additional admin fees that may cover that, but kind
Okay.
of as we go through the year, we'll be really watching that closely. And of course, in the future, for the fiscal year 25 budget, is the employees in the fuels division, which we really want to take care of and make sure that we have all the funding source for those.
And that's some uncertainty for those as well, we're feeling like, as part of this agreement.
Well, we have Chief Eisenhagen has worked really hard for some other different grants. So we
Okay.
do have some grants that are coming up
Yeah.
that are 70% funded.
Great.
And then just, but taking care of that match. We've always included some of the expenses for the fuels division to use for the Truckee Meadows fire. And there's some empty positions, so that may help offset until we know what the NV Energy does. And I think that is hoping in September. is a final decision.
Okay, great. Well, I'm looking to the rest of the board. Any questions or comments while we're preparing this budget? I'm not seeing any. Okay. This is for possible action. It sounds like we don't have much to talk about now. We'll see you in April after we see what happens in March. I'm excited to see those numbers. And so do we have any public comment?
We do
Madam
not.
Clerk? Thank you very much. All right. Do we need to make a motion on this?
I don't believe so, Madam Chair. It's just really for informational purposes and
Okay.
take your comments.
Thank you. All right. Item 10, I don't think we have anyone here for this item. My understanding is that they are in DC, so doing some lobbying. So we will move to item 11. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 11 is the Fire Chief's report, and the first item is the standard of cover revision, which we discussed in the strategic plan. May I have the graphic put up on the big screen? This one. So this is a cursory look at what our experience has been over the last decade. It's interesting to see that the number of responses grew in the first 5 years, but over the last 3 years, we've been fairly static. And also in terms of the total of all fire incidents include structure fires, cooking fires, wildland fires, car fires, anything where we arrive and we see flames. It's surprising that in a decade that number has stayed relatively static. I would have expected that number would have climbed, but nevertheless, it's about the same as it was 10 years ago. But then how do you account for the fact that we were 7,600 calls in 13, and now in 2023 we're at 12,300? Well, the answer is it's EMS. And people are accessing our services for EMS, emergency medical, acute and traumatic types of calls. And we really value our partnership with REMSA over the last few years to where we've been able to add medic units to some of our busier stations. That has been a strategic shift that has, I think, benefited REMSA and has benefited TM and has certainly benefited the community because the growth in our EMS calls is really where the demand for service is. So when we look to the future, this is the kind of deep data dive that we'll take a look at and try to plan on where we need to put future fire stations and how many firefighters we'll need in the future and exactly what is the best allocation of our financial resources to where the demand is. So I won't go through the rest of the narrative there, but if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
I do. So 19 and 20, or do we not count those because it was a pandemic, or at least 20?
I just did like a 5-year gap at the front there, but I could certainly add that. But there was steady growth.
They were the
since-
12,000
Yeah.
responses?
They were in that
those?
general area, yeah. And the pandemic, you're right, Madam Chair, is that the pandemic caused a big shift in the number of EMS calls that we had.
Well, it's interesting. I'm still confused, though. Well, no, because 13 to 18, sorry, that was a jump there, too. About, the 7,000 calls in 13, then the 10,000 calls in 18, like, what was, I guess it was growth. That was all growth during that time. And
Yes.
then the 2,000 plus additional calls have been EMS. Okay.
Correct.
Because when did we pin that deal? Well, we started working with REMSA in 2020, right? With Sun Valley?
Yep, that
Okay.
was the first one, and we've added Washoe Valley and Spanish Springs. And
Okay.
we're talking to REMSA right now about the addition of a possible additional station for us.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I'd love to just see that, the additional breakdown, but I love that we're looking at the numbers so closely. So thank you. Any other board members have questions on this? Yes, Vice Chair Herman?
Do you think that may be part of the reason for 300 fire incidences in 2013 and 300 again in 2023? Wouldn't that be because of all the education that's going out there?
That's a good point, Madam Vice Chair. We do a very robust effort towards reducing wildland fires. Mr. Mayberry is on top of that messaging, and our green waste program certainly has helped. Chief Eisenhagen's program in reducing fuels reduction in certain communities. Mr. Daly's in the audience, and he's been a champion around his community to do fuels reduction projects. Whether that's actually prevented a fire, it certainly helps to keep our community thinking about wildfire and the particular causes. Structure fires are always all kinds of different reasons, human error, mechanical failures, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm proud of our fire prevention effort.
Absolutely.
And, I think that is attributable, as you say, and observed, Madam Vice Chair, that has something to do with the fact that even though our population has increased, our structure fires have not.
Right.
Anyone else? Okay, continue on, Chief Moore.
That's all I have for item 1. Item 2, we included the budget calendar for your reference. Item 3 is the draft report to the community. I want to ask the board if there's anything else that you would like to see added and if it's comprehensive enough. Some of the feedback I had would be to include a map of the district and the locations of the fire stations so community members would generally know what fire station serves them. And I'll probably expand on some of the narratives. Ran out of a little bit of a time here to get it buttoned up, but I'll probably add another page or two with those particular topics. So hopefully the data dive is deep enough for you. It's a good general overview, I think, of what we do. And if you have any comments now or in the next week or two, please let me know.
Surely.
And item 4, termination of the lease with the Verdi Historical Society. We entered into a lease agreement with them some years ago, but I believe their desire is we're maybe a little too noisy for there because we do have a fuels crew working out of that station. And so we're looking at an alternative location for that crew. I believe their view was that we expressed that we would be parking vehicles there and not necessarily running a crew out of there. So we want to be good neighbors. I'll be bringing that back for official termination in April. And Chief Eisenhagen is already on top of another location for our crew. And so I want to just state that for the record that we're going to be moving forward with a recommendation to terminate that lease and move. And then finally, capital projects update. We're still working with Apple, waiting for them to approve the costs of the electrical service and costs of the well, and there's some other infrastructure costs there that we will memorialize, but the architect is moving forward on the plan still. Washoe Valley, we're a bit on hold until we figure out the financing piece. But that is the mirror image of the Apple Fire Station. So to get that architecture done for Washoe Valley will not be an involved process. It will actually go pretty fast.
Yeah, smart.
And then Hidden Valley, we're ready to go just as soon as we button up the financing. And that concludes my fire chief's update. If there's any questions about the monthly reports, I'll be glad to answer those.
Great. Any questions to the chief from the board?
Oh, I was.
I'm not seeing anyone jump up, but this was not
Thank you.
an action item. Oh, no, it is a possible action item. So, Madam Clerk, is there any public comment?
There is none.
Okay.
Madam
Chief
Chair,
Moore.
I forgot. Thank you, Mary Canderas, for reminding me. We wanted to give you a brief update on Snowmageddon.
Oh, yes.
We'll let you know what happened. So if Chief Shum, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a brief overview. And things went pretty well. And Chief Shum is our Division Chief of Operations and was largely in charge of making sure that we're able to respond.
So good morning, everybody. For the record, Joe Shum, Division Chief, Truckee Meadows Fire. In prediction and anticipation of the storm, we did do some extra stuff at the district, as well as through Washoe County. So the Washoe County EOC was never officially opened, but they were on alert and prepared to open if things escalated. So we were prepared to also occupy our spot up there for Truckee Meadows. We did upstaff an additional medic ambulance and an additional engine company on Saturday during the brunt of the storm. Happy to report that those units were busy that day. Overall, from beginning of Friday morning, the 1st of March, from 8 o'clock in the morning until Monday morning, we did run an additional 30 incidents over what our normal call load would be for that same time span in the same time of year. So those additional units, we had 117 total. It's particular to note that 12 of those were electrical hazards, power lines down, arcing and smoking. So we had crews out there. NV Energy was able to respond to all of our incidents in a good amount of time and not delay us becoming available for other things. So we're very thankful for them. Mount Rose Highway was closed for the duration of the storm from about midday Friday until an hour and a half ago. So we do think that that helped reduce the amount of traffic accidents and other potential rescues from people playing in the snow up high. So we are thankful that DOT did that, but it was literally snowed closed till about an hour and a half ago. So they finally punched through. Other than that, our EMS division, fleet division, everybody worked well together to make sure we were prepared and responding appropriately. We did make sure that we started our snow removal early and often at all of the fire stations, as well as digging and clearing hydrants. Big priority for us, making sure we have strategic locations open, even though up in Joy Lake, they're in some spots under 10 feet of snow that we're working currently to continue to dig those out. So it's about a 3 to 4 day process with a crew of about 10 to 16 people to dig out when we have a storm of this magnitude. So overall, good response, and we're very thankful that only 30 extra calls.
Right. Well, great work to you and your team. Thank you so much. Looking to the board, see if there's any other comments. Thank you, Chief Moore. Thank you.
Additionally, Madam Chair, we, to the extent that I'm aware of, we had no storm-related deaths. So that's another positive thing.
Yes, I
There is a
know.
positive
What a
thing about that
relief.
blizzard.
Exactly. Wonderful. Well, with that, we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. Madam Vice Chair, do you have a block for us?
I hope I'm correct in this.
I think I bet you are.
Okay, that would be number 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, on those items, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay. Well, with a motion to block 12 through, you said 17, right? Or, I'm sorry.
16.
16, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Okay. And now we will move to item 17. Chief Moore.
Item 17 is a recommendation to approve a cross-fund net $0 budget amendment to reappropriate transfers in the amount of $215,000 and approve Resolution TM02-2024 to augment the district's emergency medical services fund for $215,000.
Great. Welcome, Ms. Vance.
Hello again. Okay, this one is, what we're doing is kind of rolling back an original where we froze a EMS position to create or not froze it, we transferred it to the EMS coordinator. So we were able to, we were in another, we wanted to put that position back to the
Wonderful.
firefighter paramedics, and we received additional GEMT funds, so we can keep the money in the general fund, and that's the cross-fund transfer, which doesn't require resolution, but then we could do a resolution and use the additional GEMT funds to fund that new EMS coordinator position. So just for the EMS GEMT, originally we had budgeted at flat for 1.7, which is what we received in fiscal year '23, but our current year one was 3.5 million, and then, which led them to review the fiscal year '23 amount, and so we're getting an additional almost 1.4 million related to fiscal year '23.
Wonderful. I know this was a concern with some of our team members, so thank you for your work on that. Looking to the board to see if there's any questions. And Madam Clerk, any public comment? Okay, well, I am looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Herman with the motion and Commissioner Garcia with the second. Any questions on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And 17 passes unanimously. We'll now move on to item 18. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 18 is a recommendation to approve the purchase of 7 X-Series advanced manual monitor defibrillators with accessories in the amount of $214,440.86. In accordance with Lake Tahoe Regional Fire Chiefs Association 2020 state contract and NPP Gov 2020 contract, number PS 2200 pricing.
Great. Chief, do you have a little, any more info for us on this item?
Chief Swiak, would you have any additional on that?
For the record, Jay Swiak, Division Chief, Truckee Meadows Fire. They're basically, we're going to be replacing 7 monitor defibrillators that are part of our ALS service to our community. These monitors, just like any other piece of equipment, eventually time out due to age. It's hard to get parts and maintainment, stuff like that, so a replacement is necessary. I believe also this number may also include an additional number or 2 in order to be able to exchange when other ones have to be repaired.
Great.
Is there any other specific questions I can answer for you?
Any board member questions on this item? Seeing none. Any public comment, Madam Clerk?
There is none.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking for a motion on item 18.
Madam Chair, I move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner
Second.
Garcia. Thank you, Vice Chair Herman. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. And now we'll move on. Thank you. That motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to item 19. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 19 is a recommendation to approve a reallocation of $890,000 for the purchase of 2 Type 5 engines, a tractor, semi-truck, and 1 Ford 550 flatbed truck, originally purchased with a funding provision in a contract with NV Energy that has since been canceled. You had alluded to this. These were on order. They couldn't be canceled, and so they are needed within the district, but the funding now comes to us, not NV Energy.
Yep, it's a bummer. But I'm glad to hear that we're finding other funding sources and trying to scrape as much as we can from the barrel. Is there any other update you want to let the board know about that?
Yes, again, for the record, August Eisenhagen, Division Chief, Truckee Meadows Fire. As Chief outlined, these pieces of equipment were captured in our old contract for purchase and then reimbursement from NV Energy. That is one of the issues that the Public Utility Commission does not want occurring anymore, is that fronting of the money. I will say that so far, NV Energy financed about $1.5 million in equipment for our wildland program. The previous 4 years, as the equipment goes out and gets used on NV Energy projects, we don't bill for it. It goes against the principle of what we owed for that $1.5 million. That $1.5 million was paid off as of September. So with this equipment and our existing fleet, initial numbers, we're predicting about $400,000 to $500,000 a year will be coming in new revenue because now we will be billing for it. So there is that piece as well.
Great. Thank you for your work on this. Okay. Any board questions? I'm not seeing any. Any public comment, Madam Clerk?
There is none.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, I am looking for a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Vice Chair Herman.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Thank you very much. And Chief, are we going to do item 20 today?
We are, Madam
Okay.
Chair, and I would recommend perhaps we do it out of order is do 21 and 22 first, and then you can adjourn for the closed session.
Okay, I will do that. So we will now move to item 21. Chief Moore.
Item 21 is Commissioners, Fire Chiefs announcements, requests for information, topics for future agendas, and statements relating to items not on the agenda.
Anything else for us, Chief Moore?
I do not, Madam Chair.
Okay, do any other board members have something? Not seeing anything. You do? Yes, Vice Chair Herman.
I just wanted to give you a warning, heads up, we're probably going to have a little water in Lemon Valley. And so
Right.
you guys are always Johnny on the spot, and we really appreciate all the help you've given. So thank you so much
We'll be ready.
in advance.
Wonderful. Anything else, Vice Chair Herman?
No, thanks.
Okay. All right, we will now move on to item 22. Chief Moore.
22 is public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda.
Great. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay. Well, with that, we are going to adjourn to upstairs for our closed session. Thank you very much, everyone, for a great meeting.